Hi there, welcome to my video and thanks for joining me in Yogyakarta. Yes, I've just arrived today. I came down from Bandung on the train. It was 7 hours and very productive that was too, because I edited the whole way just about. Some great scenery, and of course I took videos and photos, so I'll show those later on. But welcome to the channel and I hope you stick around and enjoy my video till the end. This is a really pretty train ride. I'm really enjoying it. I'm trying to do editing, but I keep looking out the window and getting distracted. So multitasking yet again. Okay, so my journey continues. How cool is this? And I think we're even going to go through a tunnel. So after my train ride today, I got to the hostel. It looks okay. It's much cleaner than a couple of the others that I've stayed in recently, which is good. And I thought, I'll just go for a walk. But where I was walking, there was no footpaths. And then I found this delightful little laneway. It's so quiet. Let me show you. And this is just parallel to the road that the hostel's on. And there's all these little lanes. And there's just no noise. It's wonderful. So one thing I do notice in all the restaurants, and even just randomly in the street, there's somewhere to wash your hands. How good is that? It's just like very random. And there's always a basin around. So sometimes I come to places and I can't figure out what the attraction is. So behind me there and behind me over here, there's lots and lots of people and they seem to be taking photos of their friends. I don't actually see anything. Let me show you a bit better the other way around. Oh, there's these guys, they go on their motorbikes and take passengers. There's all these people over here and they're just milling around. It's quite a big intersection. There's a couple of nice buildings. But I'm not really sure what the attraction is. So maybe I'll ask someone, but I don't. So it seems I've come to Yogyakarta at a bit of a special time because it's actually the Sultan's anniversary, so 7-year anniversary. And so there's a lot of people here in a uniform, I guess you'd call it. They're his staff and they're touring around the city and they're having conventions and all sorts of things. So I might get a few photographs of them in their beautiful attire while I'm here. So I've come into the Borobudur Museum and I'm going to have a look around there. And there's just in the gardens here at the moment, everything's really well cared for. There's some of the people that I was talking about in their glory, and they're doing photography moments. Now there's many places that you see the statues and the sculptures, and they're all the different gods. Now some of them you might recognise, and I don't know the names of them all, and some you may not. I'm just reading some of the signs on some of these. Some of these are really old. They're from like the 8th and the 10th century, like this one here. So they've been taken from what used to be old temple sites. So not only do we have the people here from the Sultan's architecture, but we also appear to have a school group. Don't they look very smart? So I got my ticket, just 20,000 rupiah. So that's just $2. Look at this hair pieces on some of these girls. It's beautiful. So it would be great if I could see a puppet show here in Yogyakarta. So I'm gonna try and find one because I think they're really cool. And for those who have watched my Jakarta video, you'll see that I went to a puppet making studio.
And we are here, we are using buffalo leather.
Okay, yeah.
Buffalo so
leather.
To make something like this, there are 2 steps. The first one is the crafting. The crafting with this nails and hammer like this. And then after that, we do the coloring process like this. So this is the final result. It's like this.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. So these girls are doing some batik work. That's a big pot of wax there. And she's got this special instrument with the wax. That's really cool. You've got to have a steady hand. So I've come into another building within the same museum, and yeah, it's much newer and beautifully presented. So this section's all about the visual arts, and I've taken a few photos of some of the masks, but they're really cool. So much work, I love it. And it goes all the way around. So I've just talked to one of the staff here about watching a puppet show, and unfortunately they don't have them every day. The next one's not till a week away, when of course I'll have moved on. So that's a bit sad. I'll have to make do with watching this. So I found a coffee shop that's a little bit unique. This one's in the old post office building. So I'll show you around some of the display. It's really good. Lots of old photos. I love the old photos. It shows that how it was so many years ago in the colonial times. But I mean, that was late in history. There's a lot more that came before that I just saw in a video. This is the name of the cafe. I think it's Post Office Cafe or something like that. And look, all the old PO boxes. Now I've got one of those back in Australia because I'm not there very often. So my mail just has to go in a box. Look at all these coffee grinders. They're so cool. Love it. So I'm into another museum. This is Borobudur. That's how you spell that. Now, I am actually flying it a bit blind today because it's not clear when I look online to see what the various museums are. But it doesn't matter because I've not done any of them previously. So, you know, while we wander around, you and I can learn what each museum has. So the first one was really good. I had my little break with an iced coffee and a beautiful bit of cheesecake. And now I'm looking at this one, and it's very, very humid here today. So it has been humid everywhere, but I actually think it might rain today. So since being in Kuala Lumpur, I've been seeing this word Merdeka. In KL there was Merdeka Square, and there's been a few other Merdekas. So I don't know actually what that word means. I'll have to look it up, and when I find out, I'll pop it up here. And I haven't actually seen that many monuments, but this is definitely a monument to the war. The date behind there is 1949. And that's the Bank of Indonesia, and I was just next to that at the old post office having my coffee. So in behind that monument is this work that I've seen, and I've had a look at the sign, and it says the public monument 1st of March, but I'll quickly take you along. It really does tell the story. I mean, there's lots of guns, negotiation, injured people, the trucks, I'm thinking the Japanese. And I would say this was taken over by the Japanese in probably 1942. So yeah, really well done, a really interesting story. And I'm sure I'll learn more once I get into the museum. So, not quite sure which way to go here. I just guess I will keep walking and I'll work it out. And we've got more school children. Hello! Aren't they so smart? Very tidy. There's the teacher. And you notice that I'm having no hesitation in taking photos of the school children, and it's simply because they don't mind, and often they've actually asked me to come along and have a photo with them. So tit for tat, okay? So in this museum there's actually lots of dioramas, and this one here I think is quite significant. It's September 21st, 1945, where they actually raised the flag for Indonesia and lowered the Japanese flag. So it was ruled from 1st of September that that was what would happen moving forward. So I don't know if you can hear, but there's all thunder going on above me, and it's actually cooled down, which is really pleasant, except it's going to storm. So I was trying to work out what this place was, because it's a whole compound where all those dioramas have been in this museum. But it was an army barracks, I believe, because over here behind me was the officers' quarters, and they're quite nice. So I don't know if I can have a look inside. I'll just go and have a look. No, I can't look inside. It's all offices now, but yeah, they've set them up quite nicely actually as a place to relax. So that's quite interesting. And there's where I got my little bit of information. Yeah. So I have been a little bit out of order. I missed diorama 1, so yeah, I think maybe I'll reshuffle before I edit. So this is a very fine boutique shop that I just thought I'd have a look through. And in Eid, or after Ramadan, the culture or the tradition is to buy new clothes. So a lot of these places have been quite busy with everyone looking for new clothes. Not sure what this is. I hope they don't mind me videoing. So I'd read a little bit before I came here about Malioboro Street, and that's where I am now. And there's lots of tourists, there's lots of hawkers, and there's just lots going on. But although there's lots of hawkers, they don't have to be too much. Basically they ask you, do you want to ride, do you want to buy something? And if you just shake your head, they leave you alone, which is just lovely. And I've found, you know, it hasn't been stressful from hawkers in Indonesia, which is something that I'm really thankful for. What a contrast from Jakarta and from Bandung. This is clean, tidy, not too noisy. I really like this city. So I find it absolutely unreal. This is the main line into Yogi, and I can just walk across it. How crazy. So quite hilarious. These men keep coming up and chatting to me and being all friendly. And then they're like, oh, I've got a boutique shop, or I've got an art studio, come and have a look. And then they stride off ahead, and he suddenly realised that I wasn't with him. It's the guy in the plaid shirt down there. So you might guess where I am. I'm at a grand mosque. So this is a mosque palace, and I'm not really sure why it's grand, but I'm just going to have a look around anyway. It is rather beautiful, and people just come to chill. And having done yoga this morning even, I think it's actually really nice to have a place just to chill. So I think I better leave because they're doing the call to prayer. So I'm taking my life in my hands yet again. I'm in one of these little tuk-tuk type vans. This one, instead of sitting behind the driver or beside the driver, I'm actually in front of the driver in a quite a vulnerable position, and not the best thing to do when you're wearing a skirt because it's a bit breezy. But it's just started raining, and I came out of the mosque and I thought, no, I'll just get him to drive me, but I negotiated the price. Here we go. That's like what I did. It's quite a different area down here. I might actually find something to eat. Getting a bit hectic. It's a long time since I had that coffee and cheesecake. come to the water palace. Hopefully it's still open. Looks a bit closed to me. I just had to go and have something to eat because I was starving. So we'll go down here and have a look. Oh well, it's closed. I'll just walk around the outside. It actually closed at 3 o'clock, so even if I hadn't gone and got something to eat, it would have been closed. So I can have a look from the outside. No big deal. Well, if it hadn't been closed, I probably wouldn't have wandered around here and seen the garden decorations. Yep, you guessed right. They're eggshells. And I just checked with the gentleman over here, and he told me that they're decorations. Yeah, banana. Yeah. Yeah, so it seems like I've got myself a little guide. Oh, I love some of these houses. It's a really cool area. That door. So it's almost like a walled area in here, all these homes, and yeah, I had to go under an arch before, I nearly hit my head. This one's just the same. It's very low. Oh, it's very hot in here. Cool. Looks like this is where lots of people live, lots of little old houses and things. And they have birds in cages. Yeah, there's probably a native bird. At least it's a big cage. So this sign just come across, I had translated it, and it's basically you're not allowed to damage anything of cultural heritage, and if you do, you could have a maximum of 15 years in prison. It's the contrast between this newly painted wall and the old walls. No idea how old this is, but I'd say, you know, a few hundred. There's another warning sign there. I do love all these paintings, they're so cool. They're just such neat colours and the expression. I think I'm not the only one who wanders around. Hello.
Hello.
There's a gentleman I just said hello to.
Take photo this.
Yeah, it's very good.
This is, you know, story is. Right?
Yes.
This is Pikalatan Ramayana story.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is Bharata Yuddha.
Ah, and then there's more of the story down there.
Different, but yeah.
Different story. Cool.
Dari mana?
Such a cool little area. So this is actually the entrance, or one of the entrances to this area. So I've sort of popped out, and I'm going to retrace my steps because it's so cool. But what brought me up this little laneway was look at this plant and all the roots just hanging down. Oh, this is a really old area now, like that. There's the wooden bars on the window. There's more here. So there's all the ruins. So I'm not actually sure of how much I would have seen if I'd actually been able to enter. And I'd say probably a lot of it has been restored. So I think walking around the surrounding village of the Tamansari is actually probably more interesting. So I saw one of these wells before with a bucket, and I believe that they are still used. Now I think I've got to work out how to find my way out of here. It could be interesting because I'm not actually sure how I came in. But I think I've probably seen enough. Now I've got to get out. Well, that was a great little adventure. I had a great time there. I met so many different people. We talked. Well, it was awesome. That's the thing, just get off the beaten track. Like I keep saying, you don't need to go to all the tourist destinations. Sometimes the places that you miss actually turn into something really different and really fun. Well, I've just discovered sourdough in Yogyakarta. So who would have thought? And I bought tomorrow's breakfast, and he's got loaves of bread. He's got all sorts of things, and I'll show you the outside of the shop as I go out. But look at this. It's amazing. How cool is that? I wish I'd discovered this before I had lunch. So this is the sign that brought me into the shop. Like, who would have thought? It's just brilliant. Yes, I'm excited. I know. I get overexcited about the silliest little things. And there go the kids. That's like what I was on. So last night I discovered this Compini coffee shop. So I'm going to go back there again tonight. Maybe not now, but I'll just do a bit of a video. So it's a really cool place. It's really old. How cool is that? And it's got a gallery at the back. Oh no, I'm all good. I'll come back later. I just take a video. So this is where I was last night eating ice cream. And they got an art room. Isn't that cool? Well, good morning. Yes, you're right. It is dark. And I've just travelled for about an hour because I'm going to watch the sunrise this morning. So it's a bit different. So this is what we're hoping to see. We've walked up in the dark and we can sit up here while we wait for the sun to rise. So like every sunrise, it took ages to come. We stood around, we talked, we enjoyed each other's company, and we were all looking for the elusive Borobudur temple. Couldn't really see it in the view, and the sunrise wasn't spectacular, but it was a lovely place to enjoy the peacefulness. There was like a little fountain, there was also a boardwalk that we could walk out on, and it was really quite nice, so I didn't mind hanging out there. It was all good. And that is where I was standing. So now I'm going back down to where we got dropped off. It's a pretty little path. It's nice in the daylight. So this music is just in time with the goats and everything bleating. It sounds hilarious. And of course the rooster. After the sunrise, we're actually going to the Borobudur Temple. Not sure if I mentioned that already, but we've just had breakfast, which was pretty good. Banana pancake, very nice. Cup of ginger tea. And I'm following my little group. We've got a couple from the UK and we've got a couple from the Netherlands. And it's all very modern here. Who would know that there was a big temple here? There's my group and my leader back there. Well, that is some cool lily pond. Look at that. So we're all geared up to do the temple. We have our little sandals and hopefully they last more than just the hiking. Yep, we've got a little bag to put our sandals in and everybody got sandals. There's our model. He's from the Netherlands. It's all very structured. Everyone's got their little role that they play and they do tickets and they do the sandals and they do the tour bus and yeah, it's been done 1,000 times before.
Done by Mr. Travel, the Stanford Thomas Travel. It was under the British administration.
So we're allocated about an hour in the temple. We go in this side and then we'll come out the other side.
Yeah, the tree name is Bodhi. That we call it Bodhi tree. Bodhi tree is the holy tree in Buddhism. Why? Because in the past, there was one of the prince. We call it Siddhartha Gautama. He was born under the same tree like that in Nepal in 2,500 years ago or 500 before Christ.
So come right up to the base of the temple here. The largest Hindu temple. So here you go, that's the view from just up to the first level. So each section is 90 steps.
Because 9 is a very special number, the highest number. No,
Try and get some footage without too many people. Not sure what luck I'll have, but these stupas are pretty cool. And inside them, some of them are there as figures. I don't think there's any figures in that one. Pretty awesome up here. And you can see they've tried their best to rebuild it because the local villagers would actually take the stones way back when. Okay, I think I have it to myself. Yay! Got my number 3 there, but that's not too bad. That's all the way through. And after we were all nearly templed out, it was time to leave the Borobudur temple and get back with our driver because we were heading off for another meal break, or at least this time it was a cup of coffee. But the civet was here and he was so cute. I couldn't help but taking lots of photos of him. And this cat has no useful purpose except to make people happy and pat it. Look at that. Isn't he gorgeous? Well, the day hasn't finished yet. We're still with the same tour guide, our main tour guide, our driver. I think we nearly should be calling him. And we've got another temple to go to. This one is called Prambanan. So come on. So this is the Prambanan temple. It's actually a collection of 4 temples, so they're the 4 different ones. And I better catch up because I'm being left behind. Well, this is really cool with that sky. Doesn't that look awesome? And we're not being marshalled around. We opted not. We're staying as a group. We opted not to get the guided tour. It's pretty cool. So, some facts. This is the largest Hindu temple in Indonesia. And it was built in the 9th century. And there's actually, like I think I already mentioned, there's actually 4 temples. So I think these are piles of stones which they didn't find a home for when they rebuilt. And I'd say, like Borobudur, there would have been lots of stolen stones. So there's actually over 250 temples here. So some of them are really large and some of them are not. But it's so much more natural than Borobudur. Really like it here. So these are really small doorways for coming in, but all those Indonesian people fit. But when I go up, it's going to be a different story.
My name.
Your name?
Is M. Ragamukti Parung.
My name's Anne.
And
Very short.
yes.
So this is the Performing Arts Centre here, and it looks like they've come to camp here and they're doing rehearsals. How cool. And of course there's someone's posing for my photos. Back into the car and heading off to the city of Yogyakarta, and I'd heard about a new area, so I went for a walk exploring, and guess what? I found the best ever pizza shop. Well, I just noticed this sign up here. I've been to Jakarta, Bandung. I'm just leaving Yogyakarta and I'm heading to Malang. So a perfect place to finish this video. And I'd like to say thanks so much for sticking around to the end. And if you've been watching my video, I say that pretty much at the end of every video. But anyway, thanks for watching, and till next time, bye for now.